Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into a big question in apparel design.
hmm
Can you actually get that perfect combo, wireless comfort and real solid support? Our sources have been looking closely at the Vertvie Women's Wireless Bra. It makes some pretty bold claims. So our mission today, figure out if this thing is a genuine breakthrough or, just really good marketing.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. So, looking at the specs, it is positioned as a direct swap for a traditional underwire bra. You've got full coverage. It's made from, let's see, 55% nylon, 45% spandex. That's quite high on the spandex. And instead of metal wire, they use this W-shaped jelly strip. That's the key bit. They claim it gives 360-degree support.
Right. The jelly strip. Sounds intriguing. So what's the verdict from people actually wearing it? Let's start with the good news, which seems, well, pretty overwhelming. Comfort. That seems to be the big headline. Reviewers use words like buttery soft. They love the seamless design. I saw one quote, feels like wearing nothing. That's a strong statement.
It really is. And, the sources definitely link that feeling back to the material blend. That 45% spandex, that gives it incredible four-way stretch, that super soft feel. And yes, it absolutely helps minimize lines under clothes. So, look, if you're maybe an A to C cup and your main goal is just pure comfort for, everyday life, something invisible under a t-shirt, then yeah, the sources say this is a phenomenal win. It really delivers on that front.
Okay, but here's where it gets tricky, doesn't it? Where the sources start showing some tension. If the big win is that it feels like wearing nothing, how does that square with the promise of real structural support? Isn't that almost a contradiction? Can the sources actually make those two things work together?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, no, they suggest you can't quite cheat physics here. This is really the core issue the deep dive brings out. That tech, that W-shaped jelly strip, it sounds advanced, but it's likely some kind of flexible polymer. And while polymers are great for flexibility, for avoiding that digging wire feel, that lateral containment they mentioned, they just don't have the same inherent tensile strength as metal. They can't fight gravity in the same way.
Ah, okay. Which leads directly to the issues reported for larger cup sizes, right?
Yeah.
The D cup and up experience.
Exactly. For anyone needing significant lift, say D cup or more, the feedback gets much more mixed. The support is described as inconsistent. That flexible strip just can't handle the increased weight, the higher gravitational pull. And that's when you see those specific complaints cropping up, the bottom band rolling or flipping up, straps slipping off shoulders. And when people say there's no push-up effect, what they're really describing is shaping through compression, kind of like a sports bra light, not actual lift from structure.
Right. So if the fit and support are already questionable for some sizes right out of the box, what about longevity? How does it hold up over time? Our sources looked into durability, and, well, the picture isn't exactly rosy there either, is it? It seems linked back to that material again.
It absolutely is. That super high spandex content that makes it feel so soft. That's also its weak spot, structurally speaking, kind of its Achilles heel. Sources indicate that after multiple washes, the fabric tends to soften even more, the stretch can become too loose, almost baggy, and the overall shape retention just isn't great long term. So for anything high impact, forget it. Running, jumping, anything where you need firm, reliable support that lasts.
This probably isn't the one. I think one review mentioned exercising and it felt less like support and more like trying to catch a bouncy castle, which paints quite a picture. Ah, yes, it does. Okay, so pulling this all together, what's the practical takeaway for you, the listener, if you're thinking about buying this? The price point is often pretty reasonable, usually under $30, which looks good next to some high-end wired bras. But it sounds like you really need to manage your expectations based on these material limitations.
Absolutely. So the distilled advice from the sources is pretty clear. Definitely consider buying it if your absolute priority is comfort, you hate bra lines, and you generally wear an A, B, or C cup. But probably don't buy it if you need significant lift, firm structure that lasts, or reliable durability for active use, especially if you're a D cup or larger. It's just not designed for that kind of load.
And a really important practical tip that came up in the sources. Pay very close attention to the sizing charts. Reviews mention the fit can be inconsistent. Also, check the strap fit as soon as you get it. Maybe even think about getting a band extender if it feels tight initially. And, crucially, always check the return policy before you buy, just in case.
This whole thing really brings up a bigger design question, doesn't it? When designers intentionally prioritize that super soft, flexible comfort first, is losing robust structure for higher impact? just an unavoidable trade-off? Is it dictated by the limits of current material science?
That's a great point. What does support even mean in this wireless future if it performs differently depending on the day's activity or, well, cup size?
Yeah.
Definitely something for you to mull over.
That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.